Hi there, I'm Katie Wagner. Welcome to Social Media Help Desk. This is the time every week when we sit around and talk a little bit about social media news of the week, what new features we're talking about here at the agency, and sort of some of the tips and tricks we're using to make social media management go a little smoother. So today I'm here with one of our content editors, Jason.
Hello.
And our Director of Operations, Stephen.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about a lot of really interesting things. The news was really good this week. And the first thing I want to chat about is LinkedIn has new salary insights out. So it's no secret that LinkedIn is used a lot by job seekers and by companies trying to recruit people for jobs. And now when jobs are posted on LinkedIn, they have a new algorithm that says the salary range for that job. They've determined sort of what that job should pay, and they're hoping to give people a little more information right on LinkedIn about the job rather than having to have them go to a different website to get it or call the company, do a little more research. And I think that this is a way that LinkedIn is really trying to capitalize on the job search market, right? They don't want people going other places. They want to keep them on LinkedIn.
Right.
They've seen that. You know, social media sites like to rule the world. Jason, what do you think about that? Is it useful?
I do think it's useful because I think it'll bring more users in and more frequent users. Yeah.
Well, and I think, LinkedIn, like you said, they're trying to keep people on their platform, right? And that's a big revenue maker for LinkedIn is the jobs and the job posting and things like that. If you're going to post a job on LinkedIn, it's actually quite expensive to do. And so they're trying to keep people, on the website and making sure people are using LinkedIn as opposed to clicking, back to the company's website to find out more information.
Right.
So, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and you bring up a good point. They're hoping that more businesses will use it to list jobs because they can keep people on there longer. If they can bring us the eyeballs on our jobs, we're more likely to put our jobs there and pay the $250 or whatever it is to list a job on LinkedIn.
No, it's really like almost becoming a competitor to Indeed and a lot of those other job search sites.
Absolutely.
It's good that there's more options, instead of just Indeed or Monster. It's good to have this too.
Yeah. Do you guys think that people prefer LinkedIn for a job search? Like, would you start there?
Good question.
Yeah.
This is hypothetical, of course,
Yeah.
since we're not looking for jobs. But,
Sure.
but like, would you? I mean, for me, it gives me a little more information about the company if I'm looking at company pages, and I can look up executives or coworkers there.
Sure.
So I like the intel of it.
Yeah, you get a little more of the nitty gritty information. It's more detailed and connections and all that stuff. So it tells a broader story, I think, of that person.
Yeah.
Their employment history and everything.
I agree. And I think, like you said, you can see your connections. LinkedIn is all about your connections.
Right.
And so you can see who else is working there, maybe someone you went to school with or somebody you worked with at a past job. And so you can sort of have an idea of what it's like and just more information.
Well, and who I know that could get me in,
Sure.
right? If I wanted a job.
Absolutely.
If I know Jason and Jason works there, I'm calling him.
Sure, absolutely.
You'd help me, wouldn't you, Jason?
Of course.
Okay. All right, good. When I need a job, I'll call you first.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about something else. Have you guys seen, I've seen this a lot on Gmail, where you'll get an email and they'll give you a quick response, like a canned response to send back, where you push the button and it just says, thanks, or I'll call you later, or I don't know, it says various things like that. Well, Google is testing that across a lot of different things now. They also have it on Facebook Messenger now. I've seen those quick responses on Facebook Messenger. And it's intended to make it easier to respond so people can just send a quick one. For me, it's very helpful when I'm texting in the car and shouldn't be texting. But we should talk about that later. But Google's rolling it out across all kinds of platforms. They're going to call this app Reply.
Clever.
That's a catchy name, right? Yeah. They're innovators over there at Google. So they're calling it Reply, and they say, I'm going to read it to you, it's going to go out on Hangouts, Google Hangouts, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, is that how you say it? I can never say it right.
Yep.
WhatsApp, Slack, and Twitter, direct messages. So how do we feel about that? Would you use that?
Well, personally, I use it in the Gmail app currently, and I love it.
What? Those aren't real emails you're writing?
Yeah, right. No, I love it because, especially if it's on my phone, right? And if I'm out and about and I don't want to like text out, 10 words or whatever, I just want to have a quick reply and that's all that's necessary. It's super easy.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's pretty intuitive. So it seems like a genuine response, even if it's just one of the 3 buttons that I push there.
Yeah.
It actually makes me feel a little bit like Google is reading my email because the responses are
Well,
pretty
they are.
savvy based on what's there.
Yeah,
They are.
100%
Let's
they are,
not
yeah.
kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Note to self: delete
Big
all those
Brother
emails I
is
wrote about
watching.
Google.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think, Jason? Does it make life easier?
It does in certain circumstances. You know, if it's a time-sensitive email, I think a quick reply is really needed in some circumstances, of course. What I really liked about the app is that you can do a message that is like a do not disturb. So like if you are driving, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
that could be really helpful and it could save lives. So
Yeah.
All right.
Put on that do
Message
not-
received.
Put on that
no
do not disturb,
texting.
Katie.
Yeah. Well, and it actually reminds me. So in my car, because I do drive a lot.
Right.
When I get a text, it'll read it to me over the Bluetooth, and then
Right.
it allows me to respond by just clicking
Verbally.
something. No, I click something and it has pre-canned responses,
Oh,
sort of like
right,
what we're
sure.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is, safer and much
I
more
agree.
efficient.
Yeah.
So now it feels like that's sort of going out to other parts of our lives. But
Mm-hmm.
but let me ask you this: is there a danger in that? Because we've talked last week on Social Media Help Desk, we talked a lot about messenger bots and chat bots,
Right.
and this artificial intelligence is really becoming part of our society
Yeah.
now, where they're anticipating responses and sending them for us. Do we lose something? I mean, what about the authenticity
That's a
of
good
writing an
question.
email back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's not replacing a well thought out email. It's not like it's writing a
Right.
a dissertation for me, right?
Right.
I mean, it's literally just replacing me saying thanks or this is great
Exactly.
information or something like that. So I think there's pros and cons to artificial intelligence, of course, and as it gets better, it becomes better. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice tool that makes life easier.
Yeah, and like I said, it's certain circumstances with emails. Like
Mm-hmm.
if someone just needs to know that you received a certain document or something, you can do a short, received, thanks, or what I mean. But
yeah.
it doesn't apply to every email.
And it wouldn't stop you from writing the longer post
Exactly.
later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Our third piece of news is actually my favorite, and I was kind of shocked at how much I like this. Twitter is they get accused of fake news a lot, right? That things you see on Twitter may not be the real truth.
No.
And so they're I know
Come
it's shocking for all of us
Say it
who
ain't
work
so,
on Twitter
yeah.
every day. But now they're trying to combat that by unveiling this feature that live streams video in like the sidebar of the Twitter feed.
Right.
So people live tweet during events, right, and use hashtags and things, and that's going on in the stream. But beside that, Twitter is now streaming live video of trending events. So as a former news person,
Yeah.
I love this, right? Because it's like combining the news with the ability to talk about the news.
Right.
And it's strangely compelling.
Yeah. I agree.
Have you tried it?
I have not tried it personally, no, but
No, I haven't either. Yeah.
Well, that's good news because you guys are working instead of
Yeah,
being on
yeah.
Twitter all day.
There you go.
But yeah, it's strangely compelling. But I don't know. Again, there's sort of a dark side for me because
Yeah.
they just released this right before the Florida shooting, right, the school shooting, and they say that 50,000 people were watching the footage of the school shooting, not the actual shooting, like the news footage of the school shooting live during it and talking about it. And it's it's that level of immediacy that's frightening. It
It
brings
is,
it
yeah.
right there. And
Yeah.
Twitter's always been popular for being a real-time news
Right,
channel,
yes.
right? When you want to know about breaking news, you go there before you go to Facebook or some of the other social media
Right.
channels because it does have that constantly refreshable stream.
sure.
But this brings it to a new level for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think though it's when we talked about LinkedIn, everyone bringing people onto their platform and keeping people there. I think this is Twitter's attempt to do the same because instead of watching the TV and then following along on a hashtag, they can just stay on Twitter. They don't even have to have the TV on. They can just watch it right on Twitter and then follow the hashtag and tweet right there while they're in Twitter. So again, I think it's just another way for it to be more convenient for the user.
Yeah.
Which again keeps more people on Twitter, which obviously Twitter wants because they're trying to sell ads. They're
It's
trying
a
to make
business.
money.
No,
you
it's
know?
a good idea.
But yeah, I just think that it's creating a more comprehensive user experience.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, I think you're right, because here at the agency, we have the TV on all the time, and we'll all sit around the conference table and watch news on the TV and react to it on our phones, right?
Right.
But now, you're right, you could do it at your desk and your computer.
Right. Lunch break.
Yeah. And not everything they're streaming, obviously, is negative or
Sure, no.
gruesome in some way. It could be keeping in touch with political news. Or,
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
sometimes that's negative and gruesome,
Yeah.
so never mind. But
Not the best
The
example.
Oscars. How about the Oscars?
The
There you go.
Oscars could
That's a
be
new
live streamed on
subject.
Twitter. That's the
Yeah.
Olympics. This is
Yeah,
good.
the Olympics.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
what we'll be watching.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should check it out. How about we'll have homework this time
There you
next week? We're going to tell you all about what we streamed on Twitter
go.
while we were hashtagging our little hearts out and contributing to that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We asked a few weeks ago for questions from our social media boot campers about what they wanted us to talk about on Social Media Help Desk. What questions did they need answers to? And we got a question from Kim that we are going to answer today. And Kim says, when do you need a business manager on Facebook, and when do you need an ads manager? That's a good question, right? Because
That is a great question.
most business owners set up a business page. They're admins of that page.
Sure.
But they don't necessarily go to the trouble to set up a business manager just to manage that page. And then an ads manager would only be necessary if you're going to run ads. So Stephen, you tell us, what do you think are guidelines for when you need those two things set up?
Well, so let's distinguish between the two of them first.
Good idea.
Okay.
Good idea.
So a Facebook Ads Manager obviously is needed when you're going to run ads on Facebook. Okay. A business manager is actually just a tool for managing pages, ad accounts, people, all of those things. So it's another level of management on top of the ads manager. So you would have your ads manager, and it would be inside the business manager, right?
Right.
And so you'd be able to access it through the business manager. Okay.
Right. So we have a business manager here at the agency
Yeah.
where we put all our client pages into the business manager.
Correct.
And then we put all our employees in the business manager, and we all have access to all those pages.
Exactly, right. And it makes a lot of sense for a company like ours. Obviously, we run lots of pages, lots of ads accounts.
Sure.
We've got a lot of people here, so it makes a lot of sense for us. But I really encourage even anyone who's starting to run ads or have a business page, and they're really getting serious about their marketing on Facebook, to set up a business manager for their business, because it allows you to have access to a lot more tools that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. And so you would do that. You just go to business.facebook.com, and it's a two-step process to actually set it up. But then it allows you, again, to have pages in there, ads in there, pixels, Facebook pixels, which are super important. If you have like an e-commerce site, you can set up catalogs for retargeting based on products. So there's just a lot of really interesting things that you can do with it that I think any business person and anyone who's running Facebook ads or doing Facebook really, with a strategy should really be doing that.
Yeah.
So you're saying, and we'll talk about pixels and things in a minute, that's a separate topic, but you're saying even if you just have one business page, you should set up a manager to manage that business page, because it takes you to a next level in your Facebook marketing.
Absolutely. And Facebook itself is starting to drive more and more people, almost force them to create a business manager in order to set up an ads account and things like that. And so I think you're going to see more of the things available from Facebook only in Business Manager, and the tools, and you won't really be able to use those outside of Business Manager.
Okay, and so another added bonus, sometimes we work with business owners that have different brands or different businesses going on. Could you take two business pages from totally different companies and put them in the same business manager?
Absolutely, 100%. You could have multiple pages for different businesses. You could have multiple ads accounts for those businesses. People, you could have pixels, Facebook pixels. Again, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
We'd love to talk about pixel.
So you can have a variety of things, and you can assign those to different people. So that, again, there's just a lot of tools for management that sort of takes your business to the next level.
And again, if you were a business owner that had employees, you could put the employees in the business manager, give them access to the pages, and then let's say one of those employees left. It's easy to revoke the access there too.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of having to go through each and every page that they're an admin on and removing them, you can just remove them from the business manager, and it takes away access to everything that's in that business manager.
That's efficient.
Yeah.
It is efficient. And for us here, it's much easier to manage pages through that way, because we can
Definitely.
toggle between them, and and have everything sort of, for me, it's a dashboard, right?
Yeah,
I have access
absolutely.
to everything all at once and
Yeah.
can toggle between the different services or
Yeah.
the different pages.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, all right, you've made your case, but since you're a little pixel happy today,
Yeah.
why don't we talk about the ads manager? Because I
Yeah.
think this is where people get really confused, right? Sometimes people say to me, I was on the phone with a prospect this morning who said, "Oh, I'm running ads already." And I said, "Oh, good. Tell me, what creative you're using." And they're like, "No, I just hit the boost button."
Yeah.
Right? And that is different than running an ad, right?
Yeah.
Boosting a post. We talked about this a little bit last week on this show.
Yeah.
What is boosting a post versus running an ad? But they're two different things. And when you need an ads manager is when you're actually setting up an ads campaign.
That's correct.
And
yeah.
that's going to give you additional tools. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, I think most people's, first venture into Facebook ads is through boosting posts, right?
Sure.
And it is a form of a Facebook ad, right? You're doing advertising on Facebook, but it's really just Facebook kind of doing all the work for you. And generally, maybe you get some more likes and a little bit more exposure, but it's generally not, typically it's only $5, $10, $20. So it's not a huge amount of money you're spending, but at the same time, it's not very targeted. It's not very direct for your business. So yeah, if you're going to be serious about running ads on Facebook, you really do want to set up the ads manager, and that's going to allow you to have access to a lot more features. It's going to allow you to target people a lot differently, and one of the things that it's going to allow you to do is create a pixel. Okay,
That's right.
and so finally we get to the pixel. Right?
He's been waiting
I
to
know.
tell you about the pixel.
Yeah, so the Facebook pixel is actually a piece of code that you would install onto your website. And then it allows Facebook to track the people that actually go to your website, and then you can get information about those people. And one of the best things you can do with that information is then you can actually set up custom audiences and retarget to those people that have been to your website, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm sure everyone's been on, Amazon or eBay or something like that. They go back to their Facebook page, and that product you were just looking at is like now in your sidebar or shows up in your news feed or something like that. And that's what they're doing. They're using the Facebook pixel, and then they're retargeting you to try to touch you again, to try to sell that thing to you again.
I always assume that means I'm meant to have those shoes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's the universe talking to
The
me.
universe,
that
yes.
Nordstrom wants me to have them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe, right?
Right.
But probably they're just trying to, convince you to buy these shoes. So,
All right.
no. So the Facebook pixel is really important. So if you're again being serious about running Facebook ads, you should really make sure you set up a Facebook pixel and install it on your website, and that's going to give you access to a lot more tools. And not only allow you to retarget, which is kind of like the base level, but also allows you to track conversions. So you can set things up to based on contact form submissions, purchases, phone calls, if you have call tracking, things like that, that will actually allow you to allow that information to be tracked in Facebook. So then when you run your ad and you say, I want this conversion to be them purchasing these shoes, right? Then you can track that all the way back to the ad that you ran to say, okay, this ad gave me $100 in sales, whereas this ad only gave me $10 in sales. So obviously this first ad was better at being most effective, not just at sending traffic to your website.
Well, but I think it's also important for us to talk about that the pixel is not just valuable for sales or e-commerce businesses. It could track things like, did they fill out the contact
Yeah,
form? Did they
right.
visit this page on your website?
Yeah.
Did they stay 3 minutes, right? You can set up any goals you
Right.
want to about what you're trying to achieve,
Yeah.
and then have it go off every time that goal is reached.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And you say, oh, you just install this thing on your website, and that's easy for us because we do it all day.
Yeah.
But really, they should talk to their web designer, right? They should be able to help them with that.
Yeah, it really does require a web designer to do it. It's easy for a web designer to do, but for most normal people, it's a little bit more technical.
I like that.
Yeah, and
Those of us who don't have superhuman web
yeah,
powers.
exactly.
Yeah.
Those web designers,
Classic.
yeah. So it does take a little bit of technical know-how to install, but most web designers will be able to figure out how to do it.
And if not, just call us and we'll walk them through it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you've got the pixel. That's important. But then there's a lot of, let's call them insights that come through an ads manager as well, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of data you can collect there.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What other things could you manipulate through there?
Well, so one of the best things about the pixel is that it's tracking the people that are going to your site. And so you can look at that audience information, the audience insights, and then you can actually see who is going to your site, what they're doing, and then you can create custom audiences based on that, right? So you can say, okay, these people, went to the site. I only want to send ads to those people now. Right, and so again, that's very similar to, it is retargeting essentially, but you can segment your audiences out in such a way that it will allow you to be a lot more targeted with your ads, right? Because an ad is only as good as your targeting, right?
Absolutely.
Because I could set up an ad right now and say, send it to everyone in the United States, right? And that might be great, and you might get a lot of clicks, but you're probably going to waste a lot of money too, because it's not very targeted. So the whole goal with advertising is trying to get to your ideal audience and get to your target audience.
Right.
So that's what some information that you can get from the pixel.
Well, one of my favorite audiences to use is lookalike audiences,
Yeah.
which we talk about a lot. Can you talk a little bit about what a lookalike audience is, Jason, for people who may not know?
A lookalike audience, I think.
Yeah, no, it does. So a lookalike audience is where you actually take an email list.
Right.
And you take that list and you would upload it to Facebook, and Facebook cross-references those emails against like actual Facebook users, right? And looks at their preferences, looks at their things that they like, looks at their behavior, and then will actually create an audience based on those people called a lookalike audience, right?
Separate people, not
Separate
the same
people,
people,
not the
but
same
people who share the qualities with the audience you've uploaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So you can upload this list, say your current customer list, right? And you can upload that to Facebook, say create a lookalike audience, and then Facebook will create that, and then you can target those people, right? And so it's a very, very cool tool that Facebook allows you to do.
Yeah. And I think I liked what you said about audiences being really the crux of Facebook ads. The targeting is everything. You can set up the best ad in the world, but if you're showing it to the wrong people, it doesn't convert.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
you never reach your goals. Whether your goal is sales or lead gen or website traffic or likes on your Facebook page, there's a lot of things ads can help you do.
Yeah.
But you have to know who you're talking to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that we talk about all the time is telling your story to the right audience.
Yeah, you don't want to be spinning your wheels for nothing,
Yeah.
Make sure you're hitting your target.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is something we even struggle with here at the agency because we do a social media boot camp, right? And so we were promoting our boot camp recently, and we wanted to get people. And somebody at the table said, "Oh, we should target people that are interested in social media." Which, on the surface, seems like a good idea. We teach social media; they like social media.
Sure,
maybe that works.
Yeah.
But then we started thinking about it and dug in a little deeper and realized people who say to Facebook that they like social media probably work in social media.
Yeah.
And those are
Right.
probably not the best boot camp students, only
Great
because they, they may know all the same stuff we know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
And so you have to think through a little deeper than that when you're targeting.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like things like lookalike audiences and using the pixel to get behavior, because just things that you think of might be the right things to target. It's a little bit arbitrary. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong.
Right.
But being able to use the pixel to track behavior and base your choices off of the data you collect, that to me is a lot more powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words as our viewers at home or at work are thinking through all this stuff?
I mean, I think using these tools it's a way to really save money in the long run, because these tools allow you to be a lot more efficient and allow you to target people a lot better. And like we said, we could run an ad to everyone in the US, or we could pick a really nice specific lookalike audience based on our current customers, and we're going to spend a lot less money to reach the people that need to see our content or the things that we're trying to sell them. And so it's a really, really good tool. And so if you're really serious about running Facebook ads and getting your business out on Facebook, these are some of the things that you really should be looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only spend less money, spend it more wisely, right? Get
Yeah.
better bang for your buck, better
Exactly.
ROI. People love to talk
Yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah.
All right, Jason, any last thoughts before we let them go?
I'm glad we got the pixel out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Steve-
you're sitting on that.
Steven's
so.
been a little insufferable about the
Yeah,
Pixel
yeah, so-
earlier. Okay, so we will be back here next Tuesday at 12:30 to talk about more social media news and tips and explanations. If you need more advice between now and then, there are a couple places you can get it. Go to our YouTube channel. There is a Tip of the Day playlist. It has hundreds of videos in there giving you our best advice. And you can go to our website. We have a blog there. And we blog every single day here at the agency. So if you'll read those blogs, that might be some good information too. As always, we ask you to like this video, follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can keep in touch. Have a good week.